What's up, guys? Welcome back to Healthy Recipe. We're going to be making a vegan recipe today. We're making a vegetable soup with a carrot base. It's going to be a carrot puree with some kale and a couple other vegetables. Super nutritious, and it's going to be amazing. So let's get right to work. Okay, so this is what we got to work with today. I have some garlic salt, Cajun seasoning, smoked paprika, cumin. I got one orange bell pepper, diced, two big kale leaves. I got half of a red onion, coarse, just kind of coarsely chopped. It's not too fine. I have one jalapeno diced or minced. I have about a quarter cup of chopped cilantro. And I also have the stems from the cilantro here. And basically, because the base of this soup is going to get liquefied in the blender, it's going to turn into like a pulp. I'm going to throw the cilantro in there to kind of take advantage of these extra stems that I had and use them for the flavor. I also have 3 Roma tomatoes diced, about a cup of diced tomato. I'm using olive oil to saute with, and white cooking wine to deglaze that pan to get up all of that flavor from the bottom, and also to add a little bit of that nice wine flavor to the soup. I got one organic potato that I chopped down the middle, and then I sliced it into small pieces so it will cook around the same time as the carrots. And I have about 3 cups of carrots chopped into circles, just about 1/4 of an inch thick. And first thing we got to do is we got to get these carrots and potatoes boiling over the hot water. So first thing is we're going to get our vegetables into the water. It's going to take about 20 minutes for this to completely cook and soften up, these carrots. Maybe 20 to 30 minutes since they're cut pretty thin. And now I want to show you guys how to handle that kale. Something very important when you work with kale. I'm going to show you what it is right now. Okay, so as you guys can see, I have 2 really big kale leaves here. And the most important thing when you're working with kale is you got to make sure you get this main artery here completely out, because in here is a lot of bitter taste on the kale. Once you get this out, it tastes really good. It's like sweet. But if you don't take this completely out, then you're going to have a lot of bitter flavor. So basically we're just going to completely remove that, the center artery. And if you got, you know, some bigger leaves, you might have to remove some of the side ones, but you know, these are fine. So now we got rid of that. Now I'm just going to chop it up, and we're going to saute this. And I'm not going to puree the kale with the carrots. I'm basically going to saute it and create that flavor in a pan, just because I don't like any kind of soup that's like all runny without texture. I like some texture, so that's why I'm going to saute this along with some tomatoes and onions and garlic, and not garlic, bell peppers, to have some nice texture in there. Okay, so we're gonna get our pan over here on 340 degrees, because if you remember, the smoke point for olive oil is 350, so we want to stay below that with our heat so it doesn't oxidize, and it's just gonna help us to extract some of that flavor from these vegetables that we're gonna use. And one of the biggest benefits from tomatoes, which is lycopene, is said to be to work much better when it comes in contact with warm olive oil. So that's another reason why I like to do this this way. Lycopene is known to be anti-carcinogen. So I just want to get that oil hot enough, and the first thing I'm going to drop in here is the onions. And we're going to let it come up to temperature before we add the cold tomatoes and the peppers in, because we don't want to overcrowd the pan. Okay, so now that's plenty hot. We're gonna go ahead and drop our peppers. Okay, so now we're gonna drop in some of the kale. And this is all gonna shrink down quite a bit, the kale, once it cooks. Look at all these beautiful colors. This is where all the vitamins, minerals of nature come together with these beautiful, vibrant colors. Okay, so now we're gonna drop the tomatoes last. And these tomatoes are gonna give off a bunch of moisture, and it's gonna make like a stew effect here. Now to this, I'm gonna add about a teaspoon of garlic salt, about a half a teaspoon of smoked paprika, about a half a teaspoon of cumin, and about a teaspoon of Cajun seasoning for a little spice. Okay, so now that we've gotten most of that moisture out from the tomatoes, we evaporated that out. That's just mostly water. Now we're gonna replace that with the glaze in the pan with a little bit of white cooking wine. This is gonna add some nice depth of flavor to the soup. Okay, so now our carrots are pretty much cooked. They're soft, and the potatoes soft too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to strain it. Okay, so we're going to put our potatoes and carrots into the Vitamix, and we're going to puree them. I don't want to put all the water in yet because I could always add water to get it thinner, but I can't take it out once I add it if I add too much. So we're going to start with very little water on the bottom. I'm also going to go ahead and throw in our cilantro, about a half a teaspoon of smoked paprika in there, about a half a teaspoon of garlic salt, quarter teaspoon or so of cumin, and I'm just going to pulse it on number 4. Okay, so right now it's kind of like a thick puree, so I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of that water from it. And we're going to add in little by little till I get it where I want it to be. I feel really good about that. Now we're going to get it back into our pot and bring it all together. Okay, so in the same pan that we were boiling the potatoes in, so we don't dirty any more dishes, we're going to drop a little olive oil, and we're going to get that kale and tomato mixture. Give it a little refry to bring out those nice flavors again, refresh them up. All right, so now we're going to pour in our soup and mix everything together. Get everything mixed together. Look at that color coming through now. See that? That's so much prettier than just a boring orange soup that looks like a yogurt or a pudding or something. Look how pretty that looks. Okay, so there is the final dish, guys. There's my vegetable soup with carrot base. I'm going to basically top it off with some jalapenos and a little bit of the minced cilantro I have here for extra flavor, and also to add just a little bit more freshness and contrast of color. And as you can see, the soup has got some nice texture to it. It's not just like a puree or a cream. It's got nice chunks of peppers and tomatoes and all kinds of stuff in there, along with that nice creamy broth that I added in from the Vitamix that we blended, that puree. So basically that's it. I hope you really liked the recipe. I hope you give it a try. Remember to give us a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys really soon on the next one. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and give this soup a try for you guys and let you know what I think. Mix it up. I got some nice jalapenos in there now, and Some more fresh cilantro. It's kind of like a little bit like a really good homemade tomato soup, but it's a little bit sweeter, and it's got that smokiness of that paprika in there. I can taste the little bit of the hint of like the wine flavor, the white wine. You know, it's got a nice texture. The vegetables are in there that we didn't blend. Still, you know, they're cooked very well, but they're not mushy. You got a nice snap to them. I love this kind of soup. This is something that I don't cook often, but it is really, really amazing. Well worth the little bit of extra work to make it.